Retegi out. Musiala itching for greatness. This is a quarterfinal tie for the ages where Gli Azzurri take on Die Mannschaft. It's a highly anticipated two-leg final to the Nations League. Welcome to Semi-Informed Football. You're listening to this on YouTube. This is a Curva View, Serie A focused podcast. Now, this is a solo episode, and I'm here to hype up one of the most legendary matchups in international football. Italy versus Germany, and they're playing in the Nations League. Now, this matchup always delivers drama, and I really think fans really should be excited about this one. So I feel like I'm really apt to actually talk about this one, as I'm a big fan of Serie A, and I know the German team through and through. Well, through and through as best as I can. But here's a quick overview of what I'm going to be talking about on this podcast. I'm going to talk about the historic clashes between Italy and Germany, current form of the two teams, the Nation League's impact on the World Cup qualifying, and my predictions about what's going to happen. So first of all, I'm going to actually talk about the Nations League. How does this have relevance to the World Cup? As we're now looking at the quarterfinals, leg 1 and leg 2, the winners of this will go on to the semifinals, which is going to be June 4th and June 5th. And immediately following, there's going to be the final and the third place game on June the 8th. So we're going to go through this quite quickly. Now, the Nations League has always been kind of criticized as just another competition with just a lot more games out there, but it really does have a lot of real stakes. The main point of this league was to get rid of a lot of the friendly games that really didn't have any merit. Like, how many times do we really have to see Spain versus San Marino? And this is no offense to the San Marino fans out there. You are a team, but again, just the size and the history of the clubs do not warrant that matchup. So again, Nations League was to set up similar teams versus similar teams in great competition. Now, what impact does this have on World Cup qualifying? So Nations League can provide a backdoor entry into the World Cup playoffs. The best teams in the Nations League that don't qualify directly for the World Cup through traditional group play get a second chance via the playoff spots. Now, Italy benefit from the system in the Euro 2024 playoffs. Maybe it could happen again. With the Nations League, rankings matter. Winning the Nations League game improves your FIFA ranking, which impacts World Cup seedings and qualifying path. Again, that's a lot of math I really don't know how to explain right now. Let's go into the next part of this. A legendary rivalry, historic and pretty much classic encounters. Now, I know a few of these I've really been really jazzed about watching, but the rivalry between the two teams had a lot of historical impact. The position right now is Italy has 15 wins, 13 draws, and 9 losses. You can kind of put it more into Italy's wheelhouse right now, this matchup, but doesn't mean that a lot of these games haven't been killer. So the first one we're going to take a look at is the 1970 World Cup semifinal. A lot of people call this the game of the century. So this is one where Italy wins 4-3 in extra time. Now, this is one, if you can find it on YouTube, you got to check this one out. Speak about looking on YouTube, the 1982 World Cup final. Now, this is also Paolo Rossi and Italy had a triumph of 3-1 win over Germany. And it was in the Santiago Bernabeu. The last few are ones that I remember watching live. First of all, the 2006 World Cup semifinal. Now, this was in Germany. I remember watching this game because Germany had an up-and-coming team. And I think that they really reinvigorated the whole program because this World Cup was in Germany. So they actually went down to brass tacks and started building the team back out after a 2002 World Cup loss to Brazil. So again, you had a lot of great young players. I remember young Schweinsteiger was on there. I believe Ballack, which was one of my favorite players at the time, he actually was out maybe 2 months before the World Cup, which was really unfortunate. Fabio Grosso's magic led to a 2-0 Italy win in extra time. The next one, a little bit more recent, Euro 2012 semifinal. I don't know if you remember this, but Balotelli was a hero in this one. Italy won 2-1 and Balotelli had the brace. I remember him just strutting his stuff and thinking he was on top of the world, but that was an insane performance. A little bit more recent, Germany's payback, Euro 2016. If you remember this game, it was the penalty shootout thriller. Germany finally wins, but this one felt like it went on forever. I remember so many players just skying it right above the bar. Schweinsteiger, I don't know if you remember this, but you have to Google this one or YouTube this one. Zaza and his run up to take the kick. I remember that because they made memes out of that like you wouldn't believe. So really, what makes this rivalry special? And I think this is something that stand as test of time. And we're going to see a lot of this when Inter take on Bayern in the next, like in the Champions League. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that afterwards, but it's Italy's defensive resilience versus Germany's attacking efficiency. What you could see in the most recent wins, the ones that I watched live, was that Italy's defense frustrated Germany to the point that they made errors. And that led to players just being able to break and score those goals. So that was a little bit insane. So next one right now is when we're talking about the current matchup. Now, who really has the edge? So I'll talk about Italy's form first. Now, recent performance under Spalletti. Spalletti has gotten them. I think they've done quite well. Like, I was really impressed with how they took to the Nations League. Now, they tied with France in Group A2. Tied with France for the first spot. I think that was really well. Like, we're not quite sure how Italy really does in qualifying. Sometimes they do amazingly well, and sometimes it's just poor. But again, I believe that they had a really, really good run up to the Nations League with, Retegui potentially emerging as the striker of the future. Just coming out of nowhere. Who is this guy? Argentinian, taking on the Italian flag, and he's scoring for that. Now, what are their strengths and weaknesses? I believe, again, if you're taking a look at the Serie A, which I pay a lot of attention, like their mid is very, very strong. And that lies from a very, very strong D as well. So they're very disciplined. They're very, very disciplined in their defense of the ball and their understanding of the game, and just really always putting effort towards. What happens with their number 9? Will they get enough to score? Now, I did mention Retegui back in the beginning. However, Retegui is injured. So just I think this was maybe day or two ago that he came out of the camp with an edge. So who knows? Who knows who their number 9 will be? Well, I know, because I have a good understanding of where it's going to go, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. What about Germany's form right now? So Flick had the team struggling for a bit, but I really do think they had a very strong 2024. They were within a hair of the Euro 2024 final. Again, a handball that just didn't go their way, which I really do think it was a handball, but it actually had them vaulting into the final. I don't know. In my case, I think those two teams, not Spain and England, were the top 2 teams. The Germany-Spain game was the stronger of the two. But is Germany truly back? I think Nagelsmann has them really, really running. It hasn't been long. They haven't played many games in 2025. I don't think they have since the end of 2024. But what's happening? What's really, really going to be important for Germany over the next maybe 10 years or so are their young stars, Florian Wirtz and Jamal Musiala. Great players all around. I think they're probably 2 of the most talented Germany youngsters. Florian Wirtz is actually injured, so he is not going to be in this final. What they're going to have to do is just find the opportunities to break Italy's defense. What about their defense? There is a lot of concerns to have on their defense. I do think, like you see in the last few matches that they've played together, there is a chance that Italy's counterattack will expose them. And that has always been a problem with Germany. As long as I've been watching Italy-Germany matchups, is that they get so frustrated on the attack. Italy shuts them down and they let something open, and Italy's counterattack really exposes them. What are some key battles to watch? I don't know. We could take a look at Barella in the mid. I don't know. I think he's one of the most talented players in Italy, and he fits into that inter midfield perfectly. But who's he going to take on? Kimmich. Is Kimmich going to be playing as a right back, which probably he will be playing as a right back? Will he venture more into midfield? He is, I think, one of the most underrated players on Bayern, or most underrated players on Germany, who've consistently always given their 100%. What about their attack versus the defense? Donnarumma just coming off at a phenomenal shootout victory for PSG over Liverpool. His reach as a keeper is unreal. But will Donnarumma be able to hold back Germany's high press? They have a lot of scoring talent. Will it be an attacking Jamal Musiala that really, really challenges Donnarumma? I don't know. I don't see a lot of goals coming in right here. Now, what's the wildcard factor? Now, I do think that Italy has a combination of some more mature players, let's call them, and some younger players. But I think the speed for Germany, and that's going to be challenging to Germany's aging defense. So a Rudiger, who also came off of a really great last few games with Real Madrid, where he just really shut down a whole lot of players, but they have an aging defense. Is their defense going to be held open for Italy's speed? Who knows? Now, what I'm going to take a look at next is the predicted lineups. Now, so I actually took a look at two blogs, Football Italia. So thank you so much, Football Italia, and then Bavarian Football Works. Please do not get angry at me. I'm just going with what I've seen on the net, and so far there are a few changes that I think don't fit, and I'm going to kind of identify that. But again, with this podcast, I'm not going to go over the whole squad for both Germany and Italy. So let's actually start off with Germany because we're kind of going back and forth with Germany and Italy. So their predicted lineup is Oliver Baumann in defense. Now, Ter Stegen is out. He's out with a torn tendon, so he's out of the picture. Baumann, I don't know. He's a strong player. Strong keeper. I don't know if he is going to be able to hold Italy at bay, which that's going to be a challenge. Germany seems like they play with a kind of 4-5-1 dynamic. So let's kind of go from there. So, going from right to left back, Kimmich, like we said, at right back. Again, he could venture in the mid. However, I still think he's going to be sitting at right back because, again, he's really Germany's best option. Rudiger at defense. Very, very strong Real Madrid campaign. Jonathan Tah next. Now, a lot of people are going to say Nico Schlotterbeck. However, I see Tah playing in there. Again, sue me. Then we have the amazing David Raum. David Raum on the left side. I know a lot of people are going to say Raum or Mittelstadt. It looks like that they were kind of interchangeable during Euro 2024, with maybe Mittelstadt getting a little bit more of the love. But again, that's the lineup that I have that I'm looking at. One thing that I don't think is really up for too much debate is their mid, starting off with Pascal Gross and Robert Andrich. I think they offer a combination of great attacking and defensive presence in the midfield. I really think that this is how the midfield is going to start. Maybe with a Goretzka coming in afterwards. Okay, and this one, the next is all the forwards, and this is something that I feel a little bit interested in. So first of all, we have Sané on the flank, which, again, I feel like Sané is a player that he shows like he has all the talent in the world, but he can't finish. He just breaks your heart. I want Sané to be an amazing player. I don't know. Let's see how it goes. Maybe the next two games are going to be a surprise for me. Musiala is a lock in the middle. No Florian Wirtz, like I said before. Such a strong player. And who I have on the left side here, and this is something that I don't know if I completely agreed, but was written down as Mittelstadt. I don't see a game where both Raum and Mittelstadt come in. I see that maybe Adeyemi kind of fits within this role on the left flank, on the left wing, but we'll see. I think a strong striker, and this is what a lot of people said, is Kleindienst at the striker. So there are other opportunities. I don't know Nicholas Fulcru being injured, but I really do like how Kleindienst plays out. Now this is going to be tough. This is a lineup I was given. Nagelsmann is a really tough one to predict, so this might play out the way they are, but I do think it's going to be relatively close to that. So let's actually go into the Italy lineup. So Gli Azzurri, during qualification, they've used an awkward 3-5-1-1, or some people call it a 3-5-2. However, I find that there's one deep-lying striker playing behind another striker. So to bring things up from the back, and this is absolutely no surprise, and I would be absolutely shocked if it's not Donnarumma, but between the pipes, I think Donnarumma has had a really good season. And I think he's locked down that keeper role. If you are a watcher of Serie A or just of Italian players, you see players like Meret, Perrin, like there's so many great keepers, and that's an amazing problem to have for Italy, but it looks like Donnarumma has that locked up. I know a lot of people are going to challenge me on this one, but it looks like it's going to be a back three of Di Lorenzo, Calafiore, and Bastoni. Now, a lot of people are going to say, Calafiore? No, that's going to be Buongiorno. I don't know about that. I think the Arsenal man Calafiore is actually owning it, and I do think that he's going to get the start. Again, we all know that he had that magnificent game in Euro 2024. I really do think he's going to get the start. The midfield is going to be interesting, and this is how I've seen it kind of play out. Politano, Barella, Rovella, Tonali, and Destiny Udogie. So I really do think this is kind of a run-in. Tonali being an ad, I really do like him as a player. So I don't know, challenge me if you want, but I think that this is how I've been told, and I have actually no problem with that midfield. Okay, so let's actually go to the two forward positions. Playing more of the deep role is going to be Raspadori. Next, and I think this is a player, in lieu of Retegui being injured, I think he's earned it, with 15 goals with Fiorentina after challenging a Juventus season the year before is Moise Kean. I think he's earned this. I really do think that this is how this is going to play out. Again, there's a lot of injuries to this to this team, or a lot of players that aren't on the squad. Andrea Cambiaso, Matteo Zaccagni. I just don't think that. I think this is the best of the players that they have to present. Again, this is how I think the lineups are going to play out. With this, I'm going to give us some predictions, and I know I'm going to get a little bit of flack with this, or maybe I won't get a little bit of flack. So, will we see a tactical masterclass, or it's going to be a chaotic showdown? Now, with the score prediction, I have to kind of preface this a little bit. So, I believe Italy's defense is going to stay strong. This is not anything new to anybody else. Like, I really think that this is how it's going to play out. And Germany's attack, I think, is going to be kind of unpredictable. Like, Kleindienst, is he going to be the man? I do think it's he's a solid number 9 starter, but I do think they're going to be a little bit unpredictable. However, and I think this is probably going to be the most boring prediction, seeing as, well, if you take a look at the stats line, as this is playing out, I believe it's in San Siro Stadium, but it's in Italy for sure. I think this is going to play out as a 1-1 draw. I cannot see Germany pumping in more than 1 goal on Donnarumma. So I do think this is going to be a 1-1 draw. So that might be a little bit of a cop-out to your listeners. However, I don't know, I really feel comfortable with that. What does a win mean for both teams? There is a second leg. Second leg is in Germany. And I really do think that they play a lot of teams play a lot more comfortable, a lot more loose at home. So this is time for Italy to come out blazing, but they don't know the Germany that they're going to get. So this is going to play out as an amazing game. I really do think that this is going to be probably one of the better games of a really, really packed Thursday. So again, Germany, Italy, real implications for rankings and very, 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 very high opportunity for World Cup qualification. So what does everybody else think? Give me your predictions out, send it to me by email, add it to the comments, and just as a teaser for the next Core Review podcast, is that I was going to take kind of the similar format and actually break down the Inter versus Bayern matchup, because I really like how these two teams match up, and I do think they're very, very close to the national teams and how they will play out itself. You're going to have a staunch defense and a very disciplined play versus, an attack that is going to try to throw different things out at you. So, Forza Azzurri, or is it Die Mannschaft? Who prevails? We're going to find out soon on Thursday. What I hope is everybody can catch this game and catch maybe some of the other great games that are happening this day. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. This is Marko from the Core Review, Semi-Informed Football Podcast. Enjoy the game.